minimizing risk. That's what most of us do. And in our postmodern world, there are many more strange risks to consider than ever before. That's why I chose the song, "It's a Strange, Strange World We Live In," Master Jack, sung by 3 Jacks and a Jill. I use that to start the podcast. Writers and authors, as well as most listeners, should be interested in this podcast because everyone faces risk. So let's continue. According to current neuroscience, evolution has equipped and shaped the human brain to be an electrochemical information processor that sifts through what our senses collect, looking for patterns in order to take action that will avoid risky situations. In prehistoric times, man didn't have the technology or tools to detect risky upcoming events. So he invented myth, religion, and rituals to appease the gods, hoping to minimize risky outcomes. For example, a rustling in the bushes might be a tiger looking for something to eat. So cavemen would run for their lives. Or they would make a sacrifice to the gods they invented to assure a successful hunt. But as civilization grew, more sophisticated approaches started replacing myth and religion. For example, civilization came up with better ways of thinking, that's cognition, and it developed science. And as they did this, the number of risks they identified expanded, and has continued to expand. Let's consider what we face today. Here are some that are listed in articles I have found. Extraterrestrial risks. Among them are asteroid strikes and alien invaders. Terrestrial risks, including viral or bacterial pandemics, or new forms of life coming from the ocean, or Antarctica, or the Danakil Depression. Climate change risks, such as worse flooding, hurricanes, droughts, tidal waves, or volcanic eruptions. More air, water, and soil pollution, leading to inadequate resources available for feeding people. The extinction of critical plants, such as oxygen-producing algae, or tiny fish like krill that are at the bottom of the food chain. Socio-political risks like nuclear war or battles between superpowers. Economic, financial, or government collapse. You might like to review them and then add some that you can think of. All planners know they must develop a list of contingency plans for dealing with risk. When I teach project management, one of the books I use is Eric Verzouz's The Fast Forward MBA in Project Management. And I recently listened to his risk management podcast to find out if he has come up with anything new. He hasn't, but he did list the steps in his risk management procedure. Here they are. Step 1, list all the specific risks affecting the project. Step 2, identify the likelihood or probability it might occur. He scores them high, which is 0.8, medium, 0.5, and low, 0.2. And if it does occur, Estimate what it will cost in terms of dollars and days. Step 3, decide which risks you can accept, that is, live with. Remove them from the list. Step 4, develop for each risk remaining on the list what steps you will take to deal with it. These steps might include avoiding the risks or minimizing it. And in all cases, you should develop a pool of resources, including people, money, and equipment, you can draw from if the risk materializes. And when considering the steps to take, moral or ethical factors must be evaluated. When I teach a business ethics course, I use the book How Good People Make Tough Choices, written by Rushworth Kidder. He points out that you need ethics when making a choice between two or among three or more options, each being considered right. Ethics and morals aren't needed when making decisions between right and wrong or good and bad. You should choose what is right or good. The author has found and the author I'm speaking about is Kidworth. The author has found 4 ethical paradigms that cover just about every decision. They are long-term versus short-term, truth versus loyalty, group versus individual, and justice versus mercy. You might enjoy reading the book if you would like to explore ethical paradigms further. And the author does a good job matching them with the basic ethical frameworks, which are outcomes-based, also known as utilitarianism, that applies to short-term versus long-term and group versus individual, rules-based, also known as the philosopher Immanuel Kant's deontology, which is a combination of the Golden Rule and John Rawls' Veil of Ignorance. This one applies to truth versus friendship. And then there's care-based, which applies to justice versus mercy. I recently read a book published this year written by Travis Rieder, that's R-I-E-D-E-R, titled Catastrophe Ethics, How to Choose Well in a World of Tough Choices. The catastrophes he considers are chosen from today's climate change issues. Among them are global warming caused by too big a human footprint, pollution caused by too much human consumption, and animal extinction plus the spread of bacteria and viruses, and land degradation caused by meat consumption. And he uses the same ethical frameworks I already mentioned. And to make this podcast even more specific, I thought I would list some of the risks authors of novels face. So here they are. Bad reviews from beta readers or professional reviewers. Mediocre book sales. Other novels already covering its theme. Readers not understanding what the book is about or disliking its style. Having too many grammar, syntax, and semantics errors and typos. And I'm certain each listener can identify risks they face in their professional and personal lives. So I'll end here with the answer ChatGPT gave when I asked this question: what major risks does the United States face today? Here's the answer it gave. According to the search results, the major risks facing the United States today include the chilling effect of rising interest rates across businesses and consumers, which could undermine economic growth and lead to financial stress for some firms. The U.S. has over $3 trillion in corporate debt that will need to be refinanced at higher rates in the coming years. Geopolitical tensions, particularly in the Middle East, that could disrupt global energy markets and oil prices. Ongoing conflicts like the one between Israel and Hamas pose risks of volatility in oil markets. China's debt and deleveraging cycle, which could drag down global economic demand and cause problems in East and South Asia, though the United States does not see immediate systemic global risks from this. Heightened political polarization and uncertainty surrounding the 2024 presidential and congressional elections, which could add volatility to economic activity. Cybersecurity threats, disinformation campaigns, and other efforts by foreign adversaries to undermine U.S. democracy and critical infrastructure. Terrorism, human, drug, and arms trafficking, and the proliferation of weapons of mass destruction, which continue to pose security threats that the U.S. government is working to address. In summary, the key risks are economic, geopolitical, political, and security-related in nature, posing challenges for the U.S. on multiple fronts. So there you have it. All that's left is for me to thank you for listening and say bye-bye until next time.